In a small village near Varanasi, an ancient legend whispered through the walls of old houses. The villagers spoke in hushed tones about a temple, hidden deep in the forest, cursed by the goddess Kali herself. It was said that anyone who dared enter the temple after midnight would face their darkest fears, doomed to either lose their sanity or vanish without a trace. Most believed it was just an old superstition, yet everyone knew someone who had disappeared. On the night of Shivratri, when the veil between the worlds was thinnest, a group of curious college students decided to explore the temple. Led by Rohan, a skeptic who believed the stories to be mere folklore, the group ignored the warnings of the elders. They were thrill-seekers, lured by the idea of uncovering the secrets of the temple. Equipped with flashlights and the confidence of youth, they set off on their bikes, leaving the noise of the village festivities behind. As they approached the temple, its silhouette loomed under the silver moonlight, almost seeming to breathe. It stood hidden under dense overgrowth, its stone walls etched with ancient carvings of Kali. Her fierce eyes seemed to watch them, her mouth open in a frozen scream. The air around the temple was thick with an unnatural silence. A faint mist clung to the ground, swirling around their feet as they approached. The group pushed open the heavy wooden doors, feeling an overwhelming staleness in the air, a smell of incense mixed with something more sinister, something that hinted at decay. The temple's main hall was vast and dark, with an idol of Kali at the center. Her eyes seemed to glow as if warning them of the dangers that lay ahead. As the group moved further inside, an eerie feeling settled over them. Their flashlights flickered, casting long, stretching shadows against the cracked walls. Then they heard it, the whispers. At first, it was just a faint murmur, like the wind. But as they stood still, the whispers grew louder, each voice distinct and chillingly close, murmuring their names. Fear took hold of them, and they tried to brush it off, telling themselves it was just the power of suggestion. Yet, the voices persisted, speaking their names with an unsettling familiarity, as if the shadows knew them deeply, knew secrets even their closest friends didn't know. As they wandered deeper into the temple, they stumbled upon a broken mirror hanging on the wall. One of the friends, Priya, was drawn to it, transfixed. Her reflection was nowhere to be seen. Instead, the mirror showed shadowy figures behind her, twisted and dark, their hollow eyes staring into hers. These figures had faces distorted with anger and pain, their eyes like bottomless pits, each figure seeming more horrific than the last. The others noticed the reflection, each face as pale as the next. It felt as if the mirror was a window to another world, one filled with lost souls waiting for someone to set them free. Suddenly, the shadows began to move. One of Rohan's friends, Arjun, let out a blood-curdling scream, his eyes wide with terror as he looked into the darkness. Before anyone could react, Arjun disappeared, pulled into the shadows by an unseen force. His scream echoed through the temple, then silence. Panic gripped the group. They rushed to the door, but it was locked tight, trapping them inside. They pounded on it, but the old wood remained unmoved, as if the temple itself was holding them captive. Desperate, they searched for another exit, but every path seemed to lead them back to the same shrine, where Kali's idol loomed over them, her eyes blazing. Then, a low, ancient voice filled the hall. It was deep and reverberated through the air, chilling them to the bone. "You were warned," it said. "This is a place of penance, a place where only the pure survive." The shadows began to close in on them, each friend coming face to face with a vision of their worst fear. Priya, terrified of abandonment, saw herself surrounded by figures with cold, unrecognizable faces, all walking away, leaving her utterly alone. She screamed, but no one turned back. Another friend, Dev, who feared failure, saw himself trapped in a never-ending cycle of mistakes and humiliation, the shadows laughing as he tried and failed again and again. Rohan, the leader, found himself in complete darkness, isolated, his arrogance melting into fear as the shadows taunted him for doubting the power of the old gods. His confidence shattered as the shadows closed in, each whispering his secrets, his insecurities, things he thought he had buried long ago. One by one, his friends succumbed to their fears, vanishing into the darkness, leaving Rohan alone. Desperate and terrified, Rohan stumbled back to the idol of Kali, dropping to his knees. He begged for forgiveness, tears streaming down his face as he realized the gravity of his mistake. "Please," he whispered, "I didn't know. I didn't believe." Suddenly, a figure appeared before him, a fierce, dark presence cloaked in shadows, yet radiating an ancient power. It was Kali herself, her eyes glowing with divine anger. "You mock the power of the old gods," she said, her voice filling the room. But I am merciful. If you truly repent, you may yet escape. But you will carry a mark, a reminder of your arrogance. Rohan's hand began to burn, and he cried out in pain. When he looked down, he saw a mark, a brand of Kali's trident, etched into his skin, glowing fiercely. As he stared at the mark, the temple doors opened, and he ran into the night, stumbling down the path back to the village. The villagers saw him and gasped, recognizing the mark on his hand, a symbol they had seen before, one that was said to appear only on those who had come face to face with the goddess herself. Rohan survived, but his friends were never found. From that day on, he was haunted by visions of them, their shadowy figures appearing in mirrors, their hollow eyes watching him. He knew they were lost to the temple, bound to it forever, trapped in a realm beyond this one. The villagers whispered of the incident, telling others of the dangers that lurked in the cursed temple, warning the curious and the arrogant of the price of their ignorance. And though Rohan left the village, the shadows of his friends followed him, forever reminding him of the night he dared to challenge the power of the Cursed Temple of Varanasi. To this day, the temple stands, waiting for those foolish enough to enter, promising to reveal their darkest fears, and perhaps, to claim them forever.